You know that only about 10% of all buyers out there looking for a business to buy actually buy a business? Well, those are staggering stats. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you more about that and the top 5 reasons why buyers are not able to buy a business and why that could be a great opportunity for you as a buyer if you're ready. Let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Leo Landaverde, business broker and commercial lender, helping you buy and scale a profitable business. If you are a small business owner looking to increase your wealth or diversify your wealth by buying a profitable business, or a W-2 employee trapped in the rat race wanting to get out by purchasing a profitable business, you are in the right place. Please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell and you'll be notified every Thursday when a new video comes out. Okay, so number one, I said at the beginning that only about 10% of all buyers actually buy a business, which means that the other 90% of active buyers never buy a business. So those are some grim statistics. Now, keep in mind that as I tell you this, that 50% of all Americans actually dream of owning a business. And you should also know that 90% of high net worth individuals, those who make over $500,000 or more per year, that 1% of the top 1%, actually 90% of them own a business. So wouldn't you think that there would be more urgency or part of the average buyer to want to get into the game and buy a business? But the reality, it doesn't happen that way. And here are 4 reasons why it doesn't happen. So number one is that most people have never bought a business before. So think about it. It's not like you're actually buying a house where you don't have to do much calculations. You get yourself a buyer, realtor to represent you, and just looking up Zillow or realtor.com or anywhere else, and you just look for a property, and the property itself is the one that qualifies. You just have to make sure that you actually make enough money to pay for the mortgage. Simple. But not with a business. A business where you're actually buying as a cash flow asset. So if you've been watching my videos for a period of time, you know that there are a lot of moving parts to buying a business. And I think most people just get overwhelmed with analysis paralysis. They never bought a business before, so they don't know what to do. So yes, you can go look for deals on Biz Buy Sell or hundreds of other websites out there, Flippa or websites in general, different industry verticals. But the reality is, once you look at a deal, how do you know that a deal is good enough to buy? How do you know that a deal makes sense? How do you know that a deal is aligned with what you know how to do? And what happens if you actually like the deal? What do you do next? Do you call the broker? What if the broker doesn't want to give you the information? What recourse do you have? How do you know you're going to be able to get a loan? And so forth and so on. So what happens to the average buyer, that a lot of them like to look, but they never really execute. And this is something that you should know, that I am, as a licensed business broker, we're trained really not to talk to buyers. And the reason is because most buyers are not able to close. Even if they want to, they don't have the financial wherewithal, they don't know what questions to ask. And remember, you only get a first time to make a good impression. If you don't make a good impression from the get-go, the broker is not gonna pay attention to you. Okay, so the second thing that you should is that determining the type of business that you should buy is difficult for most. Think about it. Everybody thinks about buying a business with a shotgun approach, and your desire to own a business changes every week with a different type of. You hear something about, hey, I think plumbing businesses are great. I think self-storage is great the next week. Have you heard of electrical businesses, or you want to get into the UPS or a FedEx route, etc. You want to buy a hotel. So you keep hearing about what makes a good business, but you never really commit to any one industry. So you don't really go deep in the knowledge of what it takes to actually get into that industry. Best deals are actually going quickly, and they are actually being sold to insiders. So unless you're an insider in the industry you're trying to get into, you're never going to be able to buy a business. Because here's the sad truth, and I actually mentioned this in some of my videos before. As a business broker, I got a couple of businesses that I'm about to list into the market. But you know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to let my inside network of buyers get a first dib at the deal. I'm going to forward it to my 1,000+ buyers on the list. And if they're not interested, only then I put it up there for everybody else to see. So here's the thing. Unlike the business of real estate, when you're dealing with residential or even commercial, you're confined to the rules of the MLS, which you actually have to legally disclose to the world that you have a property for sale. In the business world, we don't have to. There's no MLS. We're not bound to. So we can take as much time as we need to try to make a deal with our buyer network, then try to put it out there. Only reason we're going to put it out there is we don't have enough qualified buyers or there's not enough interest, and then we're going to open up to the rest of the world. And guess what happens? 40, 50, 60 people call the broker all at once, and the broker gets overwhelmed, and because you don't know what you're looking for. Okay, so let's go on to the next reason. So reason number 3 within the number 1 that I said, which is why 90% of people don't buy, is that not knowing how to evaluate or having an advisor on your corner. You know, you're not gonna go to your tax CPA, your tax accountant for advice on how to buy a business. Actually, I actually have CPAs coming to me looking to learn how to buy a business. It's a different set of tools. It's a different level of expertise. Not only do you have to know accounting, you have to know the finance part of it and also know into the industry that you're buying, which may or may not be accountant. So going to your tax accountant may not help you. You can talk to an attorney. And attorneys may know some other owners in the roster of clients that actually may be willing to sell. But that doesn't mean that they know how to buy a business. They may know the paperwork, the legal paperwork that they need to have you go through to protect you, to limit your liability. That doesn't mean they know how to actually evaluate or value a business. So not having somebody in your corner could be a real detriment to you because you don't have somebody speaking on your behalf, unless you're working one-on-one with a business broker who is legally representing you. But chances are you're not gonna find one if the business broker doesn't feel that you're gonna be able to close, because business brokers get paid from the transaction contingency, which means that if we don't have the assurances that you're not gonna close, we're not gonna work with you. Okay, so last and not least, why 90% of people don't ever buy a business is accountability. Buying a business is a lonely sport, okay? Which means that you're out there on your own looking for day after day, and after a while, you don't see what you like and you quickly get demotivated. You don't have anybody to push you along. And unless you have this absolute laser-focused determination and then a strong enough why you're actually doing this, then the lack of accountability from somebody trying to do the same with you is gonna stop you from executing on your plan. Most people lack the willpower to carry on their own unless they have a strong enough why. And let me tell you what a strong enough why is that would actually overshadow any kind of accountability issues you may have. If you are someone who has a nice little nest egg, maybe you have a nice 401k nest egg, you've been working for 30 years in corporate America, and you're getting tired of the grind, and you've heard through the rumor mill that your company may either be sold or go out of business or something major, and you're gonna realize, oh my goodness, I'm gonna be unemployed. Then you're gonna have this pressure on wanting to get out and find a business. So I know what it's like because I've been through that myself. So unless you have something that compelling, I remember being 20 years ago a brand new dad with a new mortgage, 2 kids under the age of 3, and a brand new mortgage, and here I am being laid off from my corporate job where at the time I was making over $100,000 a year. Talk about the pressure of wanting to provide for your family. Now, unless something like that drives you, you're not gonna be in a hurry to look for a business. So as a result, you're gonna be in the 90% that don't ever buy a business. So let's move on to point number 2. So the first one is about why 90% of the people don't ever buy a business. So this one is, there's another reason why it's happening. So on average, there is about 15 buyers for every deal listed for sale. Now, so think about that, right? So there's over 2 million businesses for sale. That means that you have 15 times as many people actually looking, emailing the brokers, emailing the sellers. So there is an overwhelming supply of buyers to a seemingly limited supply of businesses for sale. Hey, do you need help with buying a business? I would love to help you. So here's what I'm willing to do. Why don't we get some time over Zoom in 15 to 20 minutes to let's get to know each other, and I'll give you a complimentary strategy call. All you have to do is either send me an email. My email address will be down below, or you can just put a comment below and let's connect. I think it would help you in your journey. This is my gift to you. So with that many, so when you're looking at the math, right, you're going to have all of these people trying to compete. You're going to compete with other probably capable buyers. So remember what I said before, that the 10%, those who are actually able to close, do so because they are in the inside track. They have this knowledge that you don't have, and you're competing with people who have developed relationships with sellers. They have attended vendor conventions, specific industry trade groups and associations. They are embedded in the industry that they're trying to get into. They know the top competitors. They know all the vendors. They know all the sellers in a specific geographical market. They have talked to all the bankers. They know the attorneys, the CPAs involved in this type of industry. They have befriended a bunch of business brokers that actually are prominent in that industry. They have all this knowledge. So when a business is going to come up for sale, they already know about it. They already know about it 90 days to 120 days ahead of you. So by the time that actually business is going to go out for market, the deal is pretty much done. So that's why those who are in the inside track will be able to catch it, and then the rest of you will be competing for the scraps. Let's move on. Now, here's another interesting statistic that 80% of businesses will never sell. Okay, so we got 2 million businesses out there. So on average, about 2 million businesses are listed every year. That means that 80% of those will not sell. So you're looking at about 1.6 million businesses that will go unsold this year. And here's the biggest thing. As a business broker myself, and as an accountant who owns an accounting firm who helps people, I speak the language of business, which is accounting, first and foremost. So having seen thousands of businesses and financials and balance sheets and profit and losses and statement of cash flows, I can tell you that the number one reason that a business will not sell is because they don't have quality financials, and as a result, the business is overpriced. Now, I am thinking of it as, and this is something that I will tell anybody looking for a business is, I'm sorry, if I'm talking to a seller, I ask the seller, look, I need you to put yourself in the situation of a buyer. Could your business be able to finance itself, pay for itself? If the business is not able to pay for itself, why would it be a good deal for a buyer? No buyer is going to come to the table with cash. So if you are looking to sell your business and you're not speaking, you're not connecting, you're not putting yourself on the side of the buyer, you'll never be able to sell it. What happens to most sellers? They have these unrealistic expectations of what they think their business is worth while they have no financials to show for it. It's very frustrating. So they want this and the business is worth this much. And here comes the buyer trying to get somewhere here. It's not going to work. So that's why 80% of businesses never sell. So keep going. I already alluded to this, and this is number 4. Is most business brokers have very poor communication skills. Now, I am a business broker myself, and I make it my goal every day with the 200 plus emails that I get every day to get back to everybody that inquires and either on a business or wants to get time with me, even if it is to say, hey, I got your message, I got your email, let's set up a time to chat, or at least acknowledge I'm pretty, constrained with time. Let's set up a time next week. But at least I acknowledge. Most business brokers will not do that. Most business brokers will just not get back to you. So that gives the industry kind of this bad reputation. I keep hearing from buyers over and over again. In fact, I followed up with a buyer that I have in the East Coast looking to buy a business, a qualified buyer looking for, who has all the accolades, has the wherewithal, the character, the resume, the management experience, the down payment, the working capital, the post-closing cash flow. And yet you would think that a qualified buyer who already pursue the business, sign all the legal documents, we're ready to go for the disclosures, the NDAs are all done, and the broker is not getting back to him. So I followed up with an email today and said, hey, look, have you heard from the broker? And he's like, no. So what gives, right? Wouldn't you think that a business broker who say, I am the listing broker, and it behooves me to get back to my buyers, because if I don't have a buyer to procure the sale of the business, I don't get paid because the business will not be sold. So this is a very recurring theme in the business brokering world about brokers that you should know about. Now, last but not least, number 5, and that is over 50% of all deals fall apart during due diligence. So what is due diligence? Due diligence is in the period where you actually have the seller open up their business, open up their kimono, and give you everything you need to make sure that you have the comfort level, not just to you, but to the lender. Now, I'm assuming that if you're trying to buy a business, you're probably going to put 10-15% down, and you're going to let a bank or a combination of the bank and the seller provide the rest of the finances so you can buy a business. That is called leverage, right? So unfortunately, because of what I said earlier, that most sellers don't have very good books, they don't have good tax returns. Their tax returns have nothing to do with their internals. There's a lot of questions. They don't have their AP or their AR listed on the balance sheet. The balance sheet is a mess, negative numbers. The P&L doesn't jive. It's just unreliable. And as a result, and if they are represented by the seller, and the seller didn't do a good job telling the story, the deal will fall apart during the due diligence. All of that work will be wasted. Hear me out. All of your work will be wasted if the other party didn't do their job to make sure that everything they were going to give you was going to make sense to you, not just to you, but to the lender. So 50% of the deals will fall apart during due diligence. So I'm going to recap. 90% of businesses will never, 90% of buyers will never buy. Number 2, there's 15 buyers for every business for sale. Number 3, 80% of businesses will never sell. Most business brokers have horrible communication skills at the risk of throwing ourselves under the bus in the industry, and over 50% of the deals fall apart during due diligence. Now, watch this video, please rewatch it, please share it. More people need to know about it. If you need help buying a business, I want to help you. Thank you so much for watching this video. For a limited time, I'm giving away my cash flow calculator, which has been downloaded hundreds of times as of right now. It's a great tool for you to look at a deal for sale, a business for sale, figure out how much cash flow it is. According to the seller, you can actually include the potential debt service, principal and interest, and see how much cash flow is left after the debt is paid. So that would help you figure out if this is a good deal for you. All you have to do is click on the link below, and it's yours to keep as my gift to you. So I hope you enjoy it.